What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to kick off a new series, covering Pokemon from each generation with surprising heights. Some Pokemon are much larger or smaller than I thought they were based on their pokedex entries. Now, the thing to remember is that pokedex entries don't specify if a Pokemon's size is based on actual height or length. For example, Fur is said to be 5'11", but is it almost 6 feet tall, or is it 6 feet long? For the series, we're going to take Pokemon at their word and assume that all of these Pokemon are really this tall. But I will mention if I think that this tallness actually pertains to how long they are and not their actual height. I'm going to start this journey through the generations with Generation 1, so sit back and enjoy learning some interesting Pokemon height facts. To start this off, I wanted to have a person to compare it to. It just so happens that I'm a Pokemon trainer who stands about 5'7". Although I'm much taller than the average 10-year-old on their first journey, I think I can be considered a fairly average height for the adult woman trainer. So hopping into the Pokemon now, we are going to start this off with the 3 starters from Kanto's final evolutions. Venusaur comes in at a staggering 6'7" according to its Pokedex entry. Charizard comes in second place, being the exact same height as me at 5'7", and Blastoise brings up the rear as the smallest at 5'3". It amazes me that as an adult, I wouldn't be able to ride a Charizard into battle. In fact, of these 3, the only one I could potentially take a ride on would be Venusaur, which just gives me a personal reason to love Bulbasaur and its family line even more. Pidgeot is another bird often depicted carrying trainers to and from one location to another, or even doing battle with a trainer on its back. That's why you might find it really shocking to learn that Pidgeot is only 4 feet 11 inches tall. Now, although Nintendo never officially released protagonist sizes, it's been long debated, and the most common height people agree on for Red is 4'7", and he's only 11 years old. However, if you look at Hilda from Generation 5, at 16 years old, she's roughly 5'5", and would be too tall for a Pidgeot to carry. It's amazing to think that in only a few short years, Red will probably be too big for his Pidgeot to carry, and with my current height, Pidgeot would be more suited to just flying around me, and it would never even get off the ground if I tried to ride it. Nidoking and Nidoqueen are so much shorter than I imagined. I always thought of Nidoking being a good 7 feet tall, and Nidoqueen standard closer to 6 feet tall. Taller than the average adult of the same gender. Now, what if I told you that Nidoqueen was shorter than the average 11-year-old, and that Nidoking was on par with one? They're so little! These two were a big shock to me as an adult, because even as a kid, I thought they were massive. To find out the king and queen of Pokemon were both so small I could pat them on the head without having to reach up came as a massive surprise to me. Rapidash's size is actually quite interesting to me because it's a horse. Normal horses are measured in hands, not feet and inches, but for this argument, I'm going to use feet and inches. A normal horse is measured for its height at the top of its withers, not the top of its head. So if you took Rapidash's 5'7" height using this formula, it would be roughly this size, easily tall enough for trainers of all sizes to ride it. However, if you take the standard 5'7" from head to hoof formula, suddenly Rapidash looks much more like the size of a pony, much too small for most trainers to ride. It's interesting seeing that comparing these two formulas gives Rapidash such a drastic size difference. While by no means did I ever think Kangaskhan was short, I never thought it was this big either. At an impressive 7'3", Kang towers above all 3 starters and every other Pokemon on this list so far. That also means that just from looking at this picture, that Kang's baby alone is probably around 2 feet tall. That's taller than some fully evolved Pokemon. Totally crazy. I suppose that this one I shouldn't be completely shocked over, since in the anime episode 34, The Kangaskhan Kid, Tommy is seen inside a Kangaskhan's pouch, but admittedly, it's been a number of years since I've watched the first season of the anime, and I didn't remember that episode until I started making this video. Tauros is one that comes as a big shock to me. In Pokemon Sun and Moon, you can ride a Tauros, and although you're clearly elevated on its back, it definitely appears to me that Tauros is probably at least 5 foot something. big enough that with the extra elevation, a large range of trainers could probably ride him, right? Well, according to the Pokedex, Tauros is 4'7". Yep, this giant bull is actually a tiny load of bull. It makes me wonder how anyone over 5'5" is going to be able to ride a Tauros of their own. I guess we're stuck with the old HM slaves for Rock Smash. Coming in at number 7 is Kabutops. It stands at only 4'3" tall. It's tiny. For some reason, I always thought that Kabutops would be similar in size to Scyther, but it's totally dwarfed by it. Kabutops has also been shown in the anime, looking much larger than it actually is. It leaves me so confused as to how this prehistoric fossil is so tiny. I know that the anime isn't always the most accurate with sizes. Ash's Charizard is shown to be a runt and much smaller than the others. While you could say that the Pokedex is just average size, it still means that Kabutops on average is way smaller than I thought it was. Coming in at number 8 is actually one of my favorite Pokemon, Aerodactyl. When I was younger, I always assumed Aerodactyl would be closer in size to Charizard, but according to the Pokedex, this flying mon is actually large enough for me to ride. At 5'11", Aerodactyl is massive, and the anime has collaborated this fact a couple times. It's amazing to think that this prehistoric Pokemon is so large. Plus, he's sassy. Who doesn't like a sassy flying Pokemon? Kanto's legendary trio are the birds. Zapdos, who comes in at a reasonable 5'3", Articuno, who comes in at a slightly larger 5'7", and then there's Moltres, who... Wait, is this right? 6'7"? Why is Moltres a full foot bigger than the other two birds? When going through the decks for this video, I had to stop. Go back, watch the part of the second movie with the legendary birds, and take a long, hard look at Moltres. No matter how many times I played the movie, Moltres never looked that much larger than the other birds. Why is it so much larger? This makes no sense to me. And coming in at the number 10 spot is a Pokemon I don't think anyone, including myself, thought would make this list. Dugong. Yeah, Dugong. Whenever I saw Dugong in the past, I never thought of it as a particularly big Pokemon. Maybe 3 to 4 feet. It's just a little seal after all. Well, I was wrong. Dugong is 5'7". Let that sink in. Dugong is the same height as freaking Charizard. Okay, I guess in the first movie that one girl rode on her Dugong, but still, it's huge, and it's a big shot for me to see. And there you have it, 10 Kanto Pokemon with surprising sizes. Did any of these Pokemon amaze you? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on it, and if you want to see even more top 10s and other Pokemon content, you can subscribe to my channel. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.